Goaltender Jordan Binnington and the St. Louis Blues have come to terms on a new contract. We'll go over all the details coming up next. Welcome back here to Top Shelf Hockey. Now we have some news which actually came out last evening about Jordan Binnington and the St. Louis Blues coming to terms on a new contract for the Stanley Cup winning goaltender. Obviously, we saw Jordan Binnington go on an incredible run after being called up from the minors in January. He ended up getting a few starts, eventually took over the starter's job, and just absolutely ran with it, going down to the rest of the regular season, playing in a lot of games, and really pulling the Blues not only into the playoffs, but from all the way from worst all the way to first and winning the Stanley Cup here not too long ago. So an incredible story. Jordan Binnington is now rewarded with a 2-year contract extension, giving him an annual value of $4.4 million. There's no bonuses in there as well. Obviously, we see a lot of today's big stars kind of demanding a lot of bonuses and lower salary amounts, especially where there could possibly be a work stoppage until the CBA gets either extended or negotiated here. Many players are trying to build in signing bonuses for that possible work stoppage, and that's not going to be included for Binnington's contract here, which is a little bit surprising. I thought he could have maybe demanded a little bit more, but at the same time, I think this is a really fair contract here between the Blues and Binnington. Obviously, there wasn't a lot of precedence to go by here. It's not very often you see a goaltender like him come up, basically play a half a season, go on an incredible run, and actually go all the way into playoffs and win a Stanley Cup. Now, and a few goalies we've seen kind of go on big runs here in their first years have not really gone quite as far as this. So obviously he'll end up making just a slightly bit more than the other Blues goaltender, Jake Allen. Now, as we reported before, so far it looks as though the Blues have no intentions of trading him. Looks as though they want to kind of hang on to Binnington and Allen as their goaltending tandem, at least for the short term here. Now, one interesting thing as well is that both of their goalies now will have expiring contracts at the same time. Jake Allen's contract also has 2 years left on it, so I guess we'll see how the next year or two goes. Obviously, I would think that if Binnington has another solid year like he did this past year, that once we get into the final year of the contract, that he'll likely end up signing a longer-term extension if he's able to keep up the strong play that we've seen here this past year. I wasn't sure if they'd want to hang on to Allen with his contract as a kind of be an expensive backup goalie, but obviously Jordan Binnington can hold a heavy workload here and had a ton of success last year, and all of us are very curious to see just how much he can keep it up and if he really is the goaltender of the future for the St. Louis Blues. He ended up playing 30 games last year with a 24-5-1 record. Obviously got the 16 wins in the playoffs to win the Stanley Cup, so I think he is the real deal. Even though many people say it's a small sample size, which it obviously is, it's still a big enough sample size between 30 regular season games, all those playoff games. I don't see this as being a fluke, and I really think he likely could be the goaltender of the future, but many players sometimes have 1 or 2 solid years and don't always follow it up with a really solid long career. So I guess we will remain to be seen here. Let me know your thoughts on this contract. I really think it's a pretty fair deal for both the player and the team. It's going to help out their salary cap situation a little bit here as well. Obviously, they have some other restricted free agents that need to be signed, like Sundqvist and Barbashev. Pat Maroon's an unrestricted free agent. I know they'd like to bring him back, but they might not be able to afford it. They've got Joel Edmondson on the back end as well. They're kind of getting tight on salary cap space, so we could see a few other little moves here to maybe free up some space and kind of juggle their lineup here a little bit. But of course, as always, like I said, I want to hear your thoughts on the contract down in the comment section. Let me know what you think and we'll continue the conversation. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and turning on your notifications so you're notified every time we put out new content. We'll cover all the breaking news from around the NHL. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.